This mutation is called Frostbite, and it is played on Dead of Night. We have two mutators active, we have Blizzard, and we have Minesweeper. Our mutation soloist, Tutu, will be using one of the commanders I recommended for this week's mutation, which would be Han Horner. So let us have a look at the masteries. 30 points in the Strike Fighter Area of Effect mastery, 30 points in the Significant Other bonus mastery, and 30 points into the Mag-mine cooldown mastery. Now, this is a map that is great for strike fighters, but just a small note, the death chance mastery is broken. It does not work. It doesn't do anything. So there is no reason to have this mastery selected. So let us talk a little bit about the mutators. Do note that no prestige is being utilized here. They're using the base prestige here. The mutators active are Blizzard and Minesweeper, and you can see them around the map here. These little big circly areas here that are moving around back and forth around the map are going to be the Blizzards, and all the red dots are going to be the Mag-mines from the Mag-nificent mutator here. I think I might have misspoken. I might have said Minesweeper. I meant Mag-nificent. So these are the Mag-mines here. Now, Han Horner is pretty much a very good commander for this mutation, because as long as you don't leave your base, you don't really have to worry about the Mag-mines or the Blizzards, because do remember that we have mutation safety zones, and the entire base here, you can see, is bound by that safety zone. I think Blizzard has changed the distance away from the safety zone. I think before, like, this area would be in red, but now you can see here that the safety zone actually it pretty much covers the entirety of your base. So as long as you're building in this area, you are going to be fine. So yeah, basically the strategy is very simple. Preferably do not leave your base. Go full IDEF. I know there are a lot of people that enjoy the IDEF strategy. Go full IDEF and then use your strike fire platforms to snipe the enemy structures out. Now, one thing that will play to your advantage is if you actually know the positioning of those structures, so that you can actually clear them out as effectively as possible. We'll see how Tutu clears through this mission here. Usually the way I play this map is I do this, and then I rush straight up to my strike fire platforms, and then I use my space station reallocation, like in this spot over here, to start and use the rest of my cooldowns to start clearing away for my Reapers. But in this mission, maybe it is preferable to not use your Reapers all the way through, but we'll see what is going on over here. You can see that we have already a few strike fire platforms out as well. Now, unfortunately, the observer interface does not display the strike fire platform count, so I'm going to just try and show it over here. And we also have the cooldown available here, so you can utilize that as well. Number one, we have the Hunterlings, which are a huge pain in the butt, but that is what you have. And yeah, we can see that the ally is not present as well. This is going to be a solo map. Now, basically, the idea here is just hold as much as you possibly can. And there are a few Mag-mines here as well. Interestingly enough, P1 not being utilized here, and I'm not really sure why. I really do like P1 a lot. Like, P1 is probably my favorite Han Horner Prestige. I think the instant arming Mag-mines is a lot of fun to play. You can use your Mag-mines aggressively, and it does improve. It does give you the improved death effects as well, which is, on a side note, very different from the death chance mastery here. So the improved death effects that you get from P1 increase, for example, the amount of damage that the Widowmines deal when they die. It increases the number of mines that are dropped by the Reapers when they die, but the death chance is the probability that that effect will trigger. So there are very, very subtle differences between the two, but it's very important to note. I do know a few people who have been mixing up what the two things are. They are very, very different effects here. But remember, this thing does not work. Man, the Prestige works, the Mastery does not work. So yeah, overall, reasonably well-handled defense. Space station reallocation being utilized over here. And you see what's happening, what he's done here, is he's utilized his strike fire platforms to just get vision of the enemy structures around the map. So that is basically all that is there. It's just to get vision around the map. And the reason why he's not actually going to try and clear the enemy structures just yet is because he is actually waiting, or he is waiting for this upgrade here. There we go, this upgrade, the Napalm Payload. Once you get the Napalm Payload, you are now able to one-shot structures when you take into account the dot damage that is dealt by the strike fire that is that gets dropped on these structures. So prior to that, you will not be able to one-shot structures, so obviously you will need this upgrade available for you. So now that he has this upgrade, he'll be able to start taking out the enemy structures along the way. Now, I do not think the completion is going to show here as well, so what I'll probably do is I'll just display the objectives here at the top, because this is, remember, an arcade map, so the variables are not linked over here. So yeah, overall, just this is going to be a very straightforward game. He's going to be using his strike fire platforms to slowly snipe through these structures. You can see here, pretty much perfect utility there. So in this case, let me just give you a few tips for how to utilize Hunt Horner effectively. Always obviously pick spots in between structures. So over here, for example, when you're playing with your strike fire area of effect mastery, you're going to get a bigger circle. Make sure that you are targeting in between the structures and you're not targeting each individual structure. With a good shot, you can take out 3, maybe 4 structures at a time with your strike fire, and almost always take out 2. So 2 is pretty much a guarantee, 3 is, usual, and 4 is like when you get a money shot. So take that into consideration. So other things for this mutation, commanders that are good. Like, this mutation itself is very straightforward, so almost any commander will work here. Nova P3 is the feedback that I've been getting on my mutation shorts video. A lot of people have recommended P3 Nova will work really well because her sabotage drones just deal damage in a very large area, and in addition to that, you also have like really large nukes. And Nova is also having the super cloak, which means she can just run around and, she doesn't have to auto attack anything. She just runs around the map and just clears stuff. So I do agree with those guys who made a comment about P3 Nova. Other option you can use is Swan. Swan again goes full eye-def and uses his concentrated beam and his pulse cannon and his laser drill to clear out the structures. If you are unaware of how to do that, you can check out Starcraft2Co-op.com's Swan page, and near the bottom of the page there is a section on Dead of Night that shows you the optimal positioning. And one thing to note is that if you are starting in player 1's position, you are slightly favored in your concentrated beam positioning than if you were playing in player 2's side. So do take that into consideration if you are playing with an ally in your party and you want to do Swan. Just insist that you are in player 1's position because your positioning is a little bit better. But pretty much any commander can really handle this mutation. It is not particularly difficult. Menx is another one that is also like really nice. You just build your Earth Splitters on these corners over here, and then you just laugh as you clear out the structures with your Earth Splitters. Make sure you get your upgrade. I cannot remember right now. It slipped my mind what the upgrade was called. Hemispheric Accelerants? Is that what the upgrade? I think that's what it's called. That upgrade is obviously important. It gives your Earth Splitters an insane amount of range, so that is something you can also utilize to your advantage. But I think pretty much any commander is going to be able to deal with this mutation. Some commanders will obviously struggle a little bit more than others, so, say Raynor, Artanis, those guys are going to be struggling a little bit, but there should be no reason that they will not be able to handle this. So interestingly enough, what is happening over here is we have the Shredder Rounds upgrade that has been researched for the Deimos Viking. So that upgrade is an upgrade that I do get when I play Minor Evacuation, because I do like to land these guys, and I do like the pierce that occurs over here. You can kind of see it over here that the units at the back are actually getting shredded by the Shredder Rounds upgrade, which is also kind of funny, but there you go. These SCVs now are just trying to repair, but now we have a bunch of Chonkers. Chonkers are going to be a little bit annoying, and Tutu does agree as well. He's just going to go ahead and straight away and just deal with those. Chonkers are dealing a little bit of damage. SCV trying to repair that Viking, and now there's another Chonker on the back there, and that Chonker is going to be, again, a little bit annoying for these Vikings. Interestingly enough, it actually ended up catching out the SCVs rather than the Vikings over there, so that actually kind of works reasonably well. And now he has used the call in the fleet here. Chokers and Hunterlings are just like, they're probably the 2 worst things that you could probably deal with. Like, I think in this scenario, I would rather deal with Spotters and Kaboomers. Having Hunterlings and Chokers is just like the worst outcome out of all of this. But as you can see, Hunt Horn are not really struggling. They're able to hold pretty much indefinitely. We have a few Hellbats over here as well to provide a little bit more splash damage. And you can see structures are getting sniped out one by one as well. 83 structures left on the map. Brutas over here, they might end up landing on the northern side, or maybe they might not even land here. And yeah, some of the defenses have fallen over here, but not really too much of an issue. Total losses, we had, yeah, two Vikings were lost in that little engage there. I think combined with the chokers and the aberrations, those things ended up dying. But really nothing that Han Horner cannot handle. 77 structures left on the map, and I think there's going to be a lot of clearing that'll be going on right now. So you can see strike fire platforms being utilized as well. So other strategies, other commanders that can work really well, but this mutation is not particularly, there's nothing really much going on. I think all of you guys will be aware of what is going on here in strategies. But let's talk a little bit more about some commanders that can also work. Karax. Make sure to use your Purifier Beam, get the Solar Flare upgrade for your Spear of Idun, and with that Solar Flare upgrade, you can set the ground on fire and clear rows of structures like this. You can see these 4 structures, you can just take them all out with one Solar Lance, and then you can do another one here, and obviously another one down here. So that also works in your favor. And yeah, those commanders would be the ones that I would recommend. Karax, Manx, Horner, Swan, Nova. Those commanders will work really well. The main issue is that the Magmines are kind of bugged in a sense. Every single time, if they hit a set of clumped up units, they deal their splash damage to all the units around them, and they deal their splash damage multiplicatively. So like, if they hit like one unit, they will deal 1 times the splash damage. If they hit 2 units, they will deal 2 times the splash damage to every unit. So usually what happens is if you have big death balls of an army and they get hit by Magmine, your army will just evaporate, which is usually why you would want to try and avoid pushing an army out over here. But it is definitely possible, and especially with a commander like Han Horner, who can actually trigger these Magmines as they send their strike fires, you can actually you can use that to your advantage as well. Now, one thing to also note is if you are playing this mutation and you do want to go for the standard way of clearing through, which is clearing with your army, at the start of the game, what you can do is send an SCV around here and start proccing these Magmines. So just send an SCV over and just move through and trigger these Magmines out, so that when your army is ready to push in, these areas will at least be slightly cleared up, and you're much less likely to get wrecked by a Magmine that is just hidden around the enemy base. So that is something you can do as well. So you can see structures are slowly getting cleared out here. These structures will end up getting cleared too. 39 structures left on the map. This will drop very, very quickly as well. So we're down to about 36 right now. So strike fire platforms will end up getting a lot of value over here, and eventually these structures will end up getting cleared too. So we have a bunch of battle cruisers here now. These battle cruisers are going to be tactical jumping and just clearing out whatever is available here. So they're just going to try and snipe out whatever remaining enemy structures are there without trying to get hit by these Magmines. So battle cruisers is a thing that works. Now, interestingly enough, take a look at what Horner have done over here. They have their army in the back behind their line of structures, and they're using their structures to tank here. Upgrades are not particularly important for Han Horner, because it doesn't really matter as long as you're able to take out these enemy units. So that is what he is also exploiting in this mission, just using these structures to tank and these aberrations. So you see the stuff in the back just getting wrecked by these Vikings here. Now, at this point in time, usually on night number 3, you kind of want to try and clear this mission before night number 3, and I understand that this is a mutation solo, so it is not particularly easy to do if you are playing solo against a bunch of mutators. But one thing to note is ideally you would want to try and clear this mission before night number 3, because bad stuff is about to happen to you. So you can see this Hunterling just going to start numbing on some of these SCVs, and these SCVs are going to be having a really bad time. These things do so much damage, by the way, but Hellbats are now joining into the fray here, and they will start clearing these enemy units here as well. So another call on the fleet is being utilized here just to stall temporarily. We have 19 structures left on the map, 5 strike fires that are unused. So these ones are basically two strike fire shots away. So there's going to be a lot of utility over here. And we have the dank stanks now that have come up. And these stanks are actually somewhat problematic to kill off. I do not know if Han Horner will have the adequate amount of army to be able to deal with this, because I don't think the battlecruisers even have the upgrade for their Yamato guns here, so they're not even going to be able to deal high amounts of damage, and the Stank is just going to go to town. But is there a Raven in the army? I do not know if there's a Raven in the army. Raven would have also helped a lot there in just increasing the amount of damage. I don't think there is a Raven there, and I think the Raven would have been really nice here combining with the Reapers, but the Stank will eventually go down. And that is the end of the Stank's career as a Stank. 10 more structures remaining. Strikefire is still on cooldown. And on the front line, the armory has fallen, and there was another structure over there that has also gone down. The army is going to try and get back into position now to try and hold the side. But remember, there are 8 structures left. Protoss now is going to be unloading a bunch of Zealots, and there is a Choker as well on the top there, and some Storms coming down on this Battlecruiser. Battlecruiser actually taking a lot of damage and is getting attacked by some of these air units here, and this Choker has actually caught out a Battlecruiser and a few Assault Galleons, but not a moment too soon. The day comes up and actually ends up frying up those Chokers here. So there are just some, I think, biodomes remaining. There's one structure here. There are 2 biodomes, 3, and I think there's maybe a 4. Yeah, they're basically just 4 biodomes and 1 small structure here. So Hanhorner will take a little bit of time to try and deal with those things out. Again, remember, their Napalm payload doing a lot of damage over here. So that one will also end up going down. There are 2 more strike fires available. That is going to end up getting cleared out too. And that is 1. That is going to get set on fire. And this is the final structure here. 2 strike fires as well over here. And there's, I think, 1 more that will end up taking out the infested structures. So that is the final infested structure remaining. And yeah, that's not going to be enough. Hanhorner waiting for something to happen over here. Oh, are they just going to flex on Amon? They're moving their entire army there? Oh, no, there we go. Nope. They're after... What are they after? Oh, they want to just exact revenge on Amon's forces. Just teaching Amon a little bit of a lesson. But finally, that structure needs to get cleared out. I think they might be waiting for the bonus objective. You could technically do it. It's not really too big of a deal. But we have a few Wraiths here as well. And these things are just going to start attacking some more of these Zealots. And just setting more of these things on fire. And yeah, I think he wants to go for the bonus objective. You can do the bonus objectives, like I said. Not really too big of a deal. Remember, the bonus objectives aren't really worth a lot of experience. And yeah, there we go. This army is pretty much massive enough. There are a few Dark Templars. Make sure you have detection. Finally, the Raven comes down here to end up dealing with this Dark Templar. And there's 56 seconds left. Magmine's getting set up as well here. Army's pretty much ready. And now the goal is to just dodge the blizzards here. Now, one thing to note is that your Magmines are invulnerable while they are armed, when they have completely armed. So blizzards will not be able to deal damage to them. However, if they are arming, blizzards can deal damage to them, and they can actually kill off your Magmines. So beware of that when you are placing your Magmines. If you're playing Hanhorner, these blizzards can be pretty nasty, and this one Hellbat is going to learn... Oh, he lives! Oh, that 1 HP Hellbat just survived there. I don't think he's going to survive this. But is he going to survive this? He might get killed off by the Virophage. Well, let's see. The random aberration they're triggering Magma. I'm gonna have this thing on selection just to see if it lives. I'm pretty sure it'll end up getting killed off by the Virophage. Yeah, it did end up dying eventually. So press F for that Hellbat. He gave his life valiantly to Hanhorner's army. And yeah, there we go. All the cooldowns getting used on here just to try and kill off this Virophage as quickly as possible. That is the Virophage down. And now that is the one last structure left on the map. And that is picked up by the final strike fire. Those are all the structures cleared and the bonus objective. And that is GG.